The Jesus Trilogy, Book 2, Then There Were Two, Chapter 45, Part B. Finally, as the sun hit the horizon, it was time for Judas to speak. He was introduced by Ab, an accomplished speaker in his own right. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are gathered together to launch a new party, a new direction for Judea, the Hebrew race, and all its citizens. There was a smattering of applause. You citizens of Judea, you citizens of this county of Nazareth, have elected a new and different senator. Applause now picked up a bit. With his election, you have turned the Judean ship of state onto a new course, 180 degrees from its old one. We are about to embark on a new path that will lead us not only to peace, but to unparalleled prosperity. The applause now crescendoed, surprising even Ab. He smiled, his bald pate glistening red in the setting sunlight. He took a look around at the dignitaries seated on the podium. The torches were all now lit, giving the entire hillside a warm glow. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you your next senator from our newly formed party and your Messiah, Judas Iscariot. The applause was now nearly deafening. Over 5,000 people were on the trembling hillside, standing and clapping. Messiah, Messiah, was the chant, repeated over and over again. Judas, confident as he was, did not expect this. Ab's plants in the audience helped keep the chants going for a full 5 minutes. Finally, Judas held up his hands, his white robe and gold scarf gently swaying with the light evening breeze wafting off the lake, were a sight to behold. The sun was now below the horizon. What a perfect setting to start a campaign, Judas thought to himself. Unbeknownst to him, Ab was thinking the very same thing at the exact same moment. As Ab sat down, Mary took his hand in hers and gave him a kiss on the cheek. She looked up at him, then back at Judas, the new Messiah. Ladies and gentlemen, Judas said. The Messiah chant started up again. Eventually they died down and he began again. But the chant started up once more as if on cue. This time when they died down he chose different words. We have come here tonight to celebrate a Genesis, a new beginning, a new direction. The oppression of the Hebrew nation has been going on for some 600 years, starting with the takeover of Jerusalem by King Nebuchadnezzar, then forward to Medo-Persian control and on to Greek occupation, and the current esteemed overseers, our Roman friends. The goal of all Hebrews worldwide has been to be free. The applause picked up again. Well, your new Messiah party, with the backing of the old Jewish League and all Judeans everywhere, intends to reach this common goal. Jesus looked around and rubbed his eyes. He wondered who had written this speech. Most certainly not his friend Judas. Judas knew nothing of history. But despite this fact, Jesus surmised it was an effective speech to this point. Jesus believed he, not Judas, was the true Messiah, yet here he sat doing nothing. His buddy Judas, who was pretending to be the Messiah, was getting the whole country behind him. Maybe I'm not really the Messiah after all. Everyone else thinks Judas might be it. I think Ab has brainwashed him with his money and his power. Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm not the promised one. Look at little Judas. He's playing the part very well, and I'm sitting here doing nothing. I guess I'll just have to wait my turn. No, that's not the answer. Time is short. I'm already 20 years old, and I'm doing nothing but carpentering. Dear God, please show me the way. I am patient, but I remain blind. I haven't any clue as to how to proceed. Please give me some direction if I am to be your servant. Your will be done. Amen. Jesus concluded his thoughts and prayers. Judas droned on, his speech still being frequently interrupted with the applause and chants of Messiah. There was a sudden tap on Jesus' shoulder. Jesus, a hushed voice said. He turned. It was Peter. Jesus, can you help me? Sure, what is it? Jesus was happy for the excuse not to have to listen further to his friend Judas the Messiah any longer. especially when Jesus thought it should be he giving the speech. "Jesus, I've got a real problem." "What is it?" he said as the two moved behind the stage. "I contracted with Ab to deliver 2,000 fish witches for this rally, but I estimate over 5,000 people are here. I don't think I'll even have half enough. There are going to be a lot of hungry and unhappy people, to say nothing of an angry Ab. No telling what his thugs might do to me. What do I do? I've got to go over to the warehouse and try to find more fish. Judas will be done in another 20 minutes. I don't know about that. In the meantime, what can I do? Take my place and start making up the fish witches. I know I've got plenty of bread. I'm just not sure about the fish. Hopefully some folks will go home early. Maybe old Buck has some extra down at the wharf." "What about the wine?" "What about it?" Peter said. "Won't you be short there as well?" "I'll just have to water it down. The dignitaries going through the receiving line first. We'll water it down after that. That will be good enough for the common folk." "Judas and Ab might not like that either." "They'll have to." "Okay," Jesus said. "Hurry back. Even the verbose Judas can't go on forever." "Thanks. I owe you one." "Don't mention it." Peter ran up the hillside and Jesus looked at the food. There were 10 kegs of wine and 2,000 buns in bags. There was also a large chest that looked to hold about 1,000 pieces of fish, each maybe 4 inches square. There were also large bags of nuts and candy. There appeared to be plenty of that, but Jesus knew the fish and the wine would run out far short of what was needed. He now estimated the crowd at 5,000, but feared it might be much larger. Even limiting each person to one fish witch and one glass of wine would come nowhere near solving this problem. Maybe he could cut each piece of fish in half. Abbott ordered 2,000 pieces. That would give him 4,000. Still far short of what he would be needing. Jesus sat for a minute, but then started to work feverishly. He abandoned the idea of cutting the fish pieces in half. They were already quite small. He took a small bite of one. They were very tasty. They had kind of a spicy flavor. Then he chastised himself for eating one. It would only compound the problem. So he worked on feverishly. He put a fish piece between the two bun halves, slapping a bit of tartar sauce on each piece of fish. As Judas droned on, Jesus began to whistle softly. He wasn't sure why. He couldn't possibly be happy enough to whistle. He was running out of fish and wine, and his best buddy was up on the podium doing Jesus Messiah job. He was doing women's work, but he kept up the soft whistling anyway. It was one of his favorite tunes, Yellow Bird. He thought often of the little sparrows, how they never seemed to worry. He was gradually developing a no fear, no worry attitude about life, but at times he was astonished at how difficult it could be to maintain such an outlook. Nevertheless, he continued to cultivate it. Maybe Judas was the true Messiah, but if not, and he was, Jesus realized he must not only be patient, but be ready when his time came. He could tell Judas' speech was winding down, and Peter was nowhere in sight. Jesus was running out of time, and also out of both fish and wine. He caught James' eye in the front row and motioned for him to come over. James did so. "I need help." "How so?" Jesus quickly explained the predicament. John had come over with his twin brother. Both agreed to help. The three began to feverishly make up the fish witches and pour the wine into cups. Jesus told them to fill the cups only half full, hoping it would last. But deep down he knew it in the fish would soon run out. Ladies and gentlemen, I repeat once more a great big thank you for all your support, all your votes, and I want you all to know that I and my beautiful wife Gentile, he squeezed her to him with his right arm, and all my party staff will not rest until we reach our common goal, that is acquiring freedom and prosperity for all Hebrewdom by the peaceful means outlined in our platform. I will be meeting with the Senate leaders next month. We will work out the details for negotiating a peaceful method to take back our country. The applause, which had been deafening before, now reached painful proportions. Jesus also always had sensitive ears, and he now quickly covered them both, fishy hands and all.